Matt Wilkinson, royal editor of The Sun, or some would say The Scum. Translation: a man with no visible credentials, no public record of real training, and no legacy beyond churning gossip. Your resume is emptier than your headlines. You've been at The Scum since 2020, pretending to be the authority on the royal family, but there's nothing in your background that screams expertise. No degree on record, no prestigious record on your CV, no investigative track record, just reheated rumor after rumor. Sold as exclusive to pad out a dying tabloid. You're a glorified stenographer for Palace Spin, and a gossip blogger hiding behind Murdoch's masthead. Every bombshell you write is a Xerox of yesterday's smear, cut and pasted for clicks. It's lazy, tired, and transparent. You don't use facts. You pad out articles with "a source said" or "an insider revealed." That's not reporting. Real journalists back their claim with documents, receipts, and names. You back yours with shadows and fairy dust. And let's not pretend. Your career hinges on Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Without her, you'd be writing horoscopes and begging to cover pub trivia nights. She's your rent money. She's the reason you're not unemployed. And of course, you work for The Scum. The same paper boycotted in Liverpool for lying about dead fans. The same rag that thrives on racism, misogyny, and cruelty. You and that paper deserve each other. A tabloid carcass propping up a reporter who couldn't hack it anywhere reputable. Matt Wilkinson, you are a parasite. You leech off Meghan's name to stay relevant. And the funniest part? Everyone sees it. You're a cheap rumor salesman. And when The Scum finally collapses under its own filth, you'll be remembered as nothing more than a man who sold lies for pennies.
Yes, JBT, tell him. Ooh, Matt. Nothing but a slimy gossip salesman hawking twisted tales and outright fabrications like they're hot commodities at a flea market. And the cesspit he slings his drivel for, The Sun? Forget calling it a newspaper, that's a joke. It's a glorified dumpster fire, a dumping ground for lies so egregious they'd make a politician blush. These two lowlifes are tailor-made for each other, locked in a toxic tango of tabloid trash that keeps the hate flowing and the revenue streaming. But pause for a second and really let it sink in. Can you even fathom a whole grown-ass man like Wilkinson wasting his miserable existence beefing with a woman who's done jack shit to him? Meghan Sussex, out there carving her path, living her authentic life with zero fucks given to the royal remnants or their sycophants. And this clown can't keep her name out of his venomous keyboard. For what exactly? A pathetic spike in clicks and views that barely covers his coffee habit? We all know the score. Those filthy lies he spins about Meghan Sussex are the only thing keeping a roof over his head, paying his rent on whatever sad sack of an apartment he calls home. What a weak, snivelling man. At the very least, scrape together some balls and find a real gig. Something remotely masculine, not this simpering feminine gossip fest that defines your worthless routine. Leave Meghan Sussex out of your shitty, stagnant life, you. Who in the hell is Matt Wilkinson, you ask? Good question, because if you blinked, you'd miss the nothing he's contributed to actual discourse. He slithered into the spotlight around 2020, per his puffed-up bio on The Sun's corner of the web, positioning himself as the go-to royal correspondent. What a farce. Before that, he was probably just another faceless drone in the Murdoch machine, churning out filler for their empire of misinformation. Now he's the self-anointed king of royal smears, but let's be crystal clear. His throne is built on sand, propped up by endless attacks on Meghan Sussex. Without her as his go-to scapegoat, he even have a column on corgi grooming tips? No way. This guy's entire shtick revolves around demonizing a woman who's escaped the gilded cage and dared to thrive on her own terms. It's not journalism, it's a vendetta wrapped in clickbait. Every byline screams insecurity, every paragraph drips with desperation. He's like that bitter ex who can't move on, except instead of blocking numbers, he floods the internet with poison to keep the spotlight on his fading relevance. Dive deeper into the garbage he peddles, and it gets even more revolting. Wilkinson doesn't just report, he invents scandals from thin air, then polishes them with a veneer of faux expertise. Take his endless rants on Meghan Sussex's so-called publicity stunts. He'll screech that she's desperate for attention, that every interview or project is a calculated ploy to eclipse the royals. Bullshit! This from a dude whose own scoops rely on shadowy palace insiders who sound suspiciously like his drinking buddies at the pub. He's slammed her for everything from her Netflix ventures to her family reconciliations, twisting noble efforts into nefarious plots. Remember when he accused her of torching bridges just to snag a cooking show gig? As if Meghan Sussex, with her resume of acting chops, humanitarian work and entrepreneurial fire, needs to beg for scraps. It's laughable, but Wilkinson's not in on the joke. He's too busy inflating his ego by deflating hers. And the hypocrisy? Honestly, it's off the charts. He wags his finger at her for, faking authenticity, while his articles are basically a masterclass in distortion cherry-picked quotes, omitted contexts, and outright inventions just to fit his narrative. Facts? Oh, they're overrated. Outrage, that's the currency he craves. The Sun, that rancid rag, is honestly the perfect breeding ground for Wilkinson's bile. This isn't even a publication. It's like a propaganda mill with a history of ethical black holes so deep you'd probably need a spaceship to escape them. They've been dragged through courts for phone hacking, privacy violations, and peddling falsehoods that ruin lives, all while raking in profits from the fallout. Under Wilkinson's royal reign, it's just evolved into a daily hit job on Meghan Sussex, with headlines engineered to provoke rather than inform. They really deserve each other because both operate on the same sleazy blueprint: target the vulnerable, amplify the absurd, and cash the checks. Sensationalism isn't a side effect, it's literally the main course. The Sun prints this crap as if it's the King's speech, and Wilkinson just executes it with glee, turning a woman's authentic journey into tabloid fodder. They've been fined, sued, and publicly shamed more times than I can even count, yet they soldier on, totally unrepentant. Why? Because lies sell, and in their world integrity is just for suckers. Picture this. A middle-aged man, balding and bitter, hunched over his laptop, fingers flying to craft another hit piece on a woman half his age, who's busy raising kids, launching brands and championing causes he couldn't comprehend in a lifetime. Meghan Sussex hasn't lifted a finger against him. Hell, she probably doesn't even know his name beyond a vague "that Sun guy." Yet here he is, obsessed, tarnishing her legacy with every keystroke. It's not just unprofessional, it's unhinged. What's eating him alive? Is it the sight of a black biracial woman ascending while he's mired in mediocrity? Or the fear that her unfiltered authenticity exposes his own fabricated persona? Whatever it is, it's fueling a one-man crusade that's as transparent as it is tragic. He spins yarns about her scheming behind closed doors, about hidden agendas and fractured friendships, all while ignoring the real stories. Her resilience against racism, her advocacy for mental health, her quiet power in a world that tried to break her. But no, Wilkinson can't handle nuance. To him, Meghan Sussex is the villain in his fairy tale, and he's the knight with a poison pen. And let's talk clicks and views because that's the rotten core of it all. Those lies about Meghan Sussex, they're his lifeline. Every viral headline, Meghan's latest tantrum or Duchess ditches duty for dollars, translates to ad dollars, page views, and that sweet, sweet validation from the echo chamber of haters. Without her, his metrics would flatline faster than a bad sequel. We know it, he knows it, but the dude's too hooked to quit. It's addiction-level pathetic, chasing the dopamine hit of shares and retweets, all at the expense of a woman's dignity. Pay your rent with integrity, Matt. Oh wait, you don't have any. This isn't reporting, it's rent-seeking predation, and it exposes just how hollow his hustle is. What a profoundly weak man. Seriously, muster up some spine and pivot to something worthwhile. Masculine endeavors? How about investigative work on real corruption, or profiles on unsung heroes instead of this catty below-the-belt sniping? Gossip is the realm of the insecure, the ones who whisper in corners because they can't stand in the light. It's feminine in the worst way, not the empowering kind, but the petty, backbiting variety that thrives on tearing others down. Leave Meghan Sussex out of your shitty life, man. She's not your muse, your enemy, or your paycheck. Go lift weights, build a business, volunteer, anything that builds rather than destroys. Your obsession isn't just tiresome, it's a red flag screaming unresolved issues. A real man protects, elevates, or at least minds his own damn business. You're the antithesis, a cautionary tale of what happens when fragility masquerades as expertise. So, let's talk about Wilkinson and his tired old playbook. It just crumbles the second you look at it closely. He absolutely loves harping on about the tights fiasco. Yeah, that earth-shattering scandal where he moaned endlessly about Meghan Sussex being forced to wear stockings as a royal. Riveting stuff, right? Or, his pearl-clutching over her supposedly self-indulgent lifestyle as a working mum. As if balancing global initiatives with parenthood is some sort of luxury he gets to judge from his comfy armchair. He's yammered on podcasts about her hiding her kids' faces, calling it a blatant scheme, while conveniently forgetting that privacy is a human right, not some royal obligation. And then, there are the family digs. He amplifies every rift like it's Watergate, totally ignoring Meghan's olive branches and the toxic dynamics she fled. It's all just so selective, so slanted, designed not to illuminate but to incinerate. When he's not typing, he's popping up on telly shows, smirking through soundbites that double down on the delusion. Honestly, it's laughable, if it weren't so damaging. The layers of irony here could honestly choke a horse. Wilkinson blasts Meghan Sussex for opacity and manipulation, yet his so-called sources are as anonymous as they are unverifiable. Seriously, smoke and mirrors all the way. He's the real schemer, plotting headlines for maximum mayhem, while she's out there building empires on transparency and truth. The Sun enables this farce, printing retractions only when they're absolutely cornered by lawyers, then doubling down on the denial. They both deserve the scorn boycotts, lost credibility, and just, the slow bleed into obscurity. But do they evolve? Fat chance. Lies are their language, and Meghan Sussex is their favourite dialect. If Wilkinson possessed even a flicker of self-awareness, he'd bail, ditch the desk, chase a passion that doesn't involve eviscerating strong women. Masculine? Try mentoring kids, hitting the trails, crafting something original? Honestly, spare us the feminine flair for drama. It's unbecoming and utterly exhausting. Meghan Sussex is winning, podcasts dropping truth bombs, brands booming, family flourishing, while you're chained to the churn, irrelevant and raging. Bottom line, Matt Wilkinson is the festering symptom of tabloid toxicity. He doesn't inform, he infects. Doesn't uplift, he undermines. The Sun's his enabler, a duo destined for the dustbin. Meanwhile, Meghan Sussex rises, authentic and armoured. So Matt, deal with it.